Welcome to Hmscifistories. Buckle up for an exciting journey as we dive into a thrilling tale by the talented author Farm Witch. Today, we're exploring Encounter with the R.A.D. Riders, a story that promises to take you on an unforgettable adventure. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest sci-fi escapades. Ready to embark on this epic journey? Let's get started. I was checking the manifests and making sure all of our cargo was still intact. Buffeting from a recent trip through some stellar wind had made a few glasses in the bar fall, so I needed to ensure our cargo was still strapped and secure. It was, as per usual. Cargo Master Ragnthar doesn't screw about. Hiring him was a good choice. That was when he walked in. Lucas, ship's navigator. Also a good choice for the job. A human, the only one on board. Yes, get over it. I am aware of all the tales of humans and their humanisms, but this one is special. It showed a side of them I never knew existed, both terrifying and beautiful. Lucas wandered in as we were approaching the station known as Summit Zero, a local human-run station on the outskirts of human space. He spotted me looking over the cargo manifests. "Hey, Captain!" "Yes?" "Oh, hello, human Lucas. What can I do for you?" "Aren't you supposed to be on station for this?" I asked. "No, local tugs have got us locked in and are moving us manually. You know the Navicomp is in need of replacement?" he asked, showing me a file he was holding. I sighed. "Yes, I do. What of it?" "I found a replacement for it, secondhand in the local market when we logged into the ident system. See?" he said with a smirk. 1,500 credits? This isn't possible," I squealed. "Oh, it is. It's a second-hand sell in the parts yard from a disassembled military cruiser. I already bought it before anybody else did. It was a bargain I couldn't pass up, so I went for it," he said and handed me a credit chip. Wait. You're telling me you bought a military-grade navigation system from a parts yard for less than 1/10 of its market price? I squealed in surprise at him. "Well, yeah, I know this planet. There's a catch, though," he said. "Oh, here it comes. I've been here before. We need a replacement part for our old junker of a cargo ship and we get roped into some crazy adventure." Whoa, hold up! Calm down, sir. "No, I know this planet, and the parts are already outside on the dock waiting for us," he said as a thunk and a shudder announced we were docked to the station. "Wait, what?" I said as the cargo bay door opened up. "Delivery, parts yard, R.A.D discount. Membership card and details, please," a human voice yelled from outside. "That's me," Lucas yelled and headed outside. My 6 legs carried me as fast as they could, trying to keep my claws down in a sign of peace. My carapace shivered in fear. I had never seen so many humans in one place. The dock was bustling with activity, hundreds of humans all hurrying about doing any number of tasks, from young to old. In the background, I saw a group of human podlings being led by a few of the adults. From what I knew of human culture, this was a field trip to show younglings adult life. A clever thing we ourselves adopted when we learned about it. Very effective learning tool. I wandered up to Lucas and the human wearing a brightly colored orange vest, driving a device called a forklift, and listened in on their conversation. "Member card is good. Welcome home, bro," the driver said. "Not for long, though. I'm going to take my 2-day weekend here and get back to work while we're doing the install. It's going to feel so good to hit the snow tomorrow," Lucas said with a certain degree of excitement in his voice. "Wait, what?" I asked, perplexed at the thought of not leaving so suddenly. "Geez, that's a big crab alien dude. Those the HFY I've been hearing about? Bigger than I thought," the forklift driver remarked. "Yeah, he's a HFY. He's the ship captain. And yeah, we won't be able to go anywhere for the weekend because we kinda need to install this thing first. Didn't you already figure that out, sir?" Lucas said to me with a crooked brow. "Oh, by the egg, mother, I had completely forgotten about all of that. So much going on, it slipped my mind. And also, we have our delivery as well. Blast it! Why am I so— what is that human phrase? Scatterbrained?" I exclaimed. "Yeah, that one," the forklift driver said. "What delivery are we talking about here?" "Oh, ref number 22846. It's a shipment of ice raptor meat from Callisto," Lucas remarked in kind. "Never tried that stuff. Is it any good?" the driver said as he maneuvered his forklift into our cargo bay. "I have no idea. I've heard you can't eat it like sushi. It has to be very, very well cooked. But it apparently tastes really good, Lucas replied as he directed the somewhat ungainly vehicle towards the cargo. As he approached, I heard a beep come from my own communication system. Oh, that's my PDA. It is indeed our cargo delivery order. One shipment of ice raptor fish under sterile stasis cargo. Stasis? Well, that explains why the cargo boxes are so hefty. They have stasis units built into them, I said as I did my paperwork. Yep, 3 boxes of it too. Gotta be self-contained after all. Don't want to incur extra transport costs if you have to plug it into the ship's own power grid. People often charge extra for that, so that's 3 boxes. I'll get started. Soon as they're off the ship, you'll get your payment, the driver replied enthusiastically and began offloading. I acknowledged everything as all the beeps came in, joining my ship engineer Horace as he entered the cargo bay to check the new parts. It was a selection of cardboard and metal boxes and totes, as humans called them, all cobbled together wrapped in plastics and silicate film. Everything was there. It looked almost pristine, save a few blown fuses here and there. Easily replaceable with what we already had, a few parts could be swapped without affecting the quality, and we even had equal parts from the old system we could hold for spares. Then I heard a beep come through my PDA, receipts for operations and cargo. It made my eye stalks bulge in shock, and I sputtered a bit as Lucas approached me. Something wrong, Captain? This cannot be correct. It simply cannot. 15,000 credits for the delivery? What? I exclaimed, the numbers offered making no sense. Why not? Lucas said, looking very nervous. These numbers make no sense. First off, I get the 10,000 for the delivery contract, which by itself is absurd. It's just fish. All that for some fish? And now this. Where did this come from? 32,000 credits, modified for membership discount to 2,000 credits? What is going on here? I bellowed loudly. Well, yeah, this is an R.A.D world and qualifying members get a discount on goods and services. I am a qualifying member and my discount applies to my crew regardless of rank. So I made all the purchases and arrangements myself so it would apply without any lawyers paying us a visit, he said with a smile. Wait, R.A.D world? I asked. The Republic of Adrenaline, of course. Never heard of us? The R.A.D Riders, baby? The forklift driver yelled excitedly as he trundled his cumbersome machine out the door. Well, yeah. You know what? The Navicomp has to be installed, which means the ship is in dry dock for a few days. We're just in time for the Winter Games, too, so perfect timing. I can show you guys around, he replied with a smile and headed inside the ship to the crew's quarters. Baron, the engineer, and I looked at each other as if we were expecting an answer. With none to speak of, we got to work and handed over the ship to the station's dry dock crew for repairs. I called to disembark and called a hotel for reservations, only to find Lucas had already taken care of everything for us and got us a nice hotel that better suited our needs. There were only 4 council species on board, plus 1 human, but normally our rest spot would be hard to acquire. Apparently, humans were more accommodating than any other port we've been to. We packed our bags for an overnight stay and stowed everything we needed to, staying behind to watch our cargo freighter be towed into a maintenance dock. Ship's engineer Baron stayed behind, with paid overtime, of course, to oversee the refit and repairs while we got our weekend off. We all gathered into a shuttle and headed onto the planet's surface. The ride was rough, the ship shuddering and pipes wheezing to compensate for pressure and heat from atmospheric interference. The clouds and heat haze eventually dissipated to reveal a beautiful, terrifying sight. A massive city, perched around a gigantic, brightly colored mountain with 5 different peaks, the highest of which almost went beyond the atmosphere. Every square inch of the planet was covered in either city infrastructure, greenhouse skyscrapers, factories, or huge bowl-shaped arenas. We approached one of the airports and I stared out the window. I squealed in terror as a group of humans flew past my window. I quickly regained my composure to find humans literally fly-falling, keeping up with the shuttle's descent pattern. They waved at us. Free riders! Sometimes it's just for the fun of it. Those guys did a halo jump and followed us down. They're using wingsuits to glide past, and when they get low enough, they'll parachute the rest of the way down, Lucas said over the noise of the shuttle. I'm going to have to ask you to explain why humans are so damn crazy later today, I yelled above the noise as the free riders waved and glided off. We landed on the airport tarmac shortly after this and were amazed that such a huge piece of land was used for a starport. Lucas, what is this place? Isn't it a bit too big and open to be a starport? It's not a starport, it's an airfield. It just serves the same role. We use these places for planes and fixed-wing aircraft, air races, and other things. This one specifically is used for large cargo passenger planes like that old jumbo over there, he said, pointing to an aircraft. There, on the tarmac, its heavy engines loudly screaming as hundreds of humans in various colorful suits and parachutes streamed into it. It was an abnormal, once-in-a-lifetime sight to see any kind of fixed-wing aircraft in this day and age, especially one that goddamn big. Even more so to see one in actual operation. Most civilizations abandoned fixed-wing aircraft shortly after accomplishing FTL, but apparently humans still use them. And what a use they had. For the sake of reference, that gorgeous beast is over 500 years old, Lucas said, making all of our jaws drop. He took us through the terminal and we checked into security. Shortly after, we found ourselves at a hotel near the airfield. It was the perfect place for us, and I settled into my purpose-made room quickly. Within the hour, Lucas was ready to take us on a tour of the city. The sights that greeted us were beyond unimaginable. First, a tour of the business district. A massive collection of skyscrapers and gigantic buildings saturated in advertisements, sponsorships, and such like. Lucas explained these were all sports businesses, companies setting up offices to promote and operate distribution of goods and services. A company called Mountain Dew seemed to have a heavy footprint in the area. The whole city was freezing cold, a light snow falling on us as more humans than any of us had ever seen swarmed about the place. We got more than a few backwards glances at us as we were the few aliens who were here. No incidents to speak of, really, but we were surrounded by them. And notice my absolute horrified shock when Lucas told us that the city's population fluctuated between 150 to 180 million humans, depending on the year. Here we were, collectively only seeing maybe 5 or 6 humans outside of human space, now surrounded by more humans than we even knew existed. The council needed to be informed as to just how bloody many humans there actually were. Our initial projections were so far off it's stupid. Lucas took us through the market district shortly after, allowing us to bear witness to a huge number of goods, services, and the food, my God, the food. This one small place had any kind of food imaginable for absolutely every kind of taste. Lucas took us into a place called a mall, and we were allowed to grab some gear for ourselves to stave off the cold. I got some booties and warm socks for my crabby feet, along with a nice set of claw warmers called gloves. After gearing up, we helped ourselves to the truly astonishing array of foodstuffs, drinks, and snacks available to us. Personally, I preferred the confection known as cotton candy. I recommend anyone who reads this document to try it at least once. It's a floofy sweet. It's awesome. Lucas brought us into the sky lifts, massive gondola-style vehicles mounted on rail systems that took people up the mountain. He took us to the lowest peak known as Daedalus Station, and we went to something called a half-pipe. At first, confusion. Then he explained what was going on. So much jargon used with this planet, so I had to ask Lucas to explain most of it. He was going to show us a freestyle trickathon. We moved into the stands, and the sight was strange, but amazing. A large area had been dug out of the ground, and it appeared as though a huge pipe had been put into the ground, then its top half cut off. Hence the name half-pipe. Snow and ice covered everything, and all the spectators were in heavy cold uniforms. At the top of a hill, a narrow passage with gates with humans behind them, each human with a board of some kind strapped to their feet. The crowd suddenly rose to their feet with a yell of excitement as a broadcast started. A massive screen monitor on either side of the stand started up and showed 2 humans, one male and one female wearing a fake set of long, furry ears sitting behind a desk. Good morning, Rad Riders. Welcome to X-Root Radio. I'm Richard Rhubarb, and this is Rabid Rabbit on Rad Extreme 101.6 FM, and it's a perfect day for a hell of a half-pipe. A male voice, gruff and abrasive but full of energy, presumably the one called Richard, spoke as the speaker system made his voice echo through the arena. That's absolutely right. I'm Rabid Rabbit, and it's a fantastic turnout today for the half-pipe opening ceremonies. All over the world, riders are preparing in earnest for the Winter X Games, the female said with a happy, sparkly tone in her voice. The assembled crowd cheered as a blast of fireworks went off in sequence, showing the colors red, blue, and green across the length of the entire half-pipe. It was a short but beautiful display. Lucas explained everything that was going on as I ate my cotton candy. It's going to be a fantastic day of opening ceremonies straight through the weekend, then big stuff is coming your way, Richard said to a chorus of cheer. Damn straight, we're getting a returning champion to defend his King of the Summit title from newcomers, along with some interesting new developments on the research front. It's going to be an action-packed month, Rabbit said to a chorus of cheer as well. But ho! What's this? Looks like we have some special guests in the stands watching the event this time. Say hi to our friends from the rest of the galaxy, Richard said with a wave, and we all appeared on the big screens. All the humans in the area cheered with glee and waved at us. We all very sheepishly waved back and tried to be invisible. Hard to do, but everyone's attention quickly turned to the arena on the sound of a klaxon alarm. Here we go, Ryder! For your entertainment, we bring to you Jimmy Goldhand Saunders, Rabbit exclaimed, and the big monitor switched to the human at the top of the ramp by the gates. What followed was a blur. I still have no clue how humans pulled off the maneuvers that boy did with his feet stuck to a board. A combination of momentum and speed, perhaps with humans' body weight? Or is it muscle density? Or all of it? He used the curvature of the half-pipe to gain speed, then jump up into the air up to 20 feet, sometimes 30 feet, and used the momentum to perform various tricks. Grabbing the front of the board to twist it, reaching his legs behind, then grabbing it over his shoulder with a free hand. Sometimes he landed soft, sometimes hard, and other times he moved such a way he returned to the start, uphill, to work with greater speed. Showing perfect, and I mean perfect, coordination, he performed a series of tricks in quick succession. Starting with a grind in which he used momentum and balance to ride a thin metal rail, followed by jumping high into the air to perform a backflip, then 2 consecutive spins on the next jump. His final trick was to complete a combination of a forward flip mixed with a full spin, landing it and quickly performing a grind on the last few feet of a railing before his board carried him across the finish line to the crowd amazed cheering and applause. Well, the judges' score is pretty solid with 8, 8.2, 8.3, and 7.9 from our panel of elected judges. What do you suppose our visitors think? Rabbit said, her fake bunny ears bouncing on her head. The giant monitor focused the cameras on us again to capture all the crowd needed to know. Our jaws were open, eyes wide, eye stalks shaking, and claws, paws, and pedipalps flat to the ground. I guess that means they liked it, Richard exclaimed happily to a massive "For the riders!" from the entire crowd in response. What followed was a spectacle of balance, coordination, effort, and dexterity unlike any we had ever witnessed or will ever witness. Death-defying leap after death-defying leap, each one of the humans using nothing but momentum, muscle, and the slick surface of the snow underneath them to catapult themselves ever higher, performing ever more daring tricks. One event, however, set us into an even greater spot of shock and awe, one that made us look at humans in an all the more different light. Lucas explained to us as the competition went on that only one rider was allowed in the half-pipe at a time for safety. In case any other rider were to jump in, he or she would automatically be disqualified. Not only is this to prevent potentially unsportsmanlike behavior, but also to prevent any potential collisions during performances. Disqualification meant no further participation would be permitted unless told otherwise by medical or security teams. One human in the midst of his performance failed a trick, and landed as such we could hear the sickening crack of his leg bones snapping. Granted, this was a fall that I myself, even with my hardened, age-worn carapace, wouldn't have survived without serious permanent injury. He cried out in agony, and before he even stopped sliding on the ground, 3 other riders had jumped the barriers on their own snowboards, disqualifying themselves immediately in order to provide emergency aid before paramedics could arrive. By the time the medical team got there, they had already steadied and stabilized him. After the injured rider was removed, the 3 men returned to their starting point to pack up to leave. A judge approached them, however, and asked them their names. The monitor showed the three men's names, red with a big line through it, showing they were disqualified for interference. The judge typed something on his wearable computer, and the lines vanished, followed by the names turning green again. The crowd erupted in celebration, and the three men shared a shout of glee along with them. Lucas explained that judges only rarely hand out clearances for disqualifications to preserve the spirit of the competition, which means that even though these men knew they'd never get to race, they did it anyway to help someone they likely never knew. This made us think more than usual as we decided to retire for the evening, tired from the shock and awe of our present circumstances. Lucas once again escorted us to our hotel. We all stayed quiet for the journey, deep in thought. However, I had a question. Lucas, I have a query. I was hoping you'd answer it before we sleep, as your captain anyway, I said, ignoring the crowd around us. Yes, sir, Lucas said, standing to attention. I wish for an explanation of this discount system for your membership. Exactly what did you have to do to attain it? I asked, staring right into his soul. Discounts only apply to registered riders of the Republic, sir. These discounts in products and services can only ever be earned through competition rewards, qualifying with bronze, silver, or gold medals, with each one incurring a greater or lesser bonus. Medals can be exchanged for direct monetary prizes, though this is usually only as a last resort and is frowned upon. He responded, still in full salute. Okay, then. I looked at the others. They looked back at me, eager for answers. Then, what exactly did you do? I checked the manifest and got receipts back. That military-grade Navicomp you got us has a retail value of 32,000 credits. How did I only pay 2,000 for it? He swallowed saliva in a nervous manner. His cheeks turned red. Well, sir, I paid for it using the 80% discount on a gold medal I earned back in the day, and paid for it with the 2 silvers I got, too. It was worth it. This made me stumble back a bit. First of all, he earned that high a level of prestige? I found him as a drunken soak in a bar on the Outer Rim. He never told me any of this. Okay, last question. Why? I asked him. Before you found me in that dingy bar, I had just lost a lot of friends. When you hired me, I was given a second chance, a chance to get my life back. I felt like I needed to pay you back, so I did, he said, still standing in salute. I stood in silence for a few moments. I looked at the others, then back at him. His service commission would end long before that Navicomp system would be due for replacement. It would allow us to completely avoid pirate encounters because of how sensitive it was. We could navigate more effectively, and now had access to some more hyperlanes that previously were inaccessible due to the lack of processing power. My business had just opened up to a degree I would have never seen in my lifetime at least. He would never be able to enjoy the fruits of this gift, even if he stayed with us his whole life. Are you aware of the implications of this gift? I asked again. Yes, sir. Like I said, I owe you more than you know. I figured now was my chance to pay you back and, make sure it actually meant something. Anyone can just pay up a bunch of cash or give like a really pricey piece of, I don't know. I wanted to give you what you gave me, he said, still at attention. I stood in silence for a moment. I then did what felt the most natural thing to do. I approached, wrapped my claws around him, squeezed gently and said, "Thank you." What else could anyone in that situation do? With a tearful applause from the eavesdropping crowd, Lucas and I exchanged a gentle hug and parted ways. I asked one of the security guards in the local plaza for directions to their offices. I walked my way there and entered the offices. The young woman at the reception had never seen a non-human before and was most nervous as I approached her desk. "Greeterlings. My name is Captain Dukat Thraktar, Clan Ulanth. I own the cargo freighter known as the Red Tide's Call that is currently in dry dock for repairs," I said, with as calm and collected a demeanor as I could muster. Okay, yeah, I see it on the registration page here. What can I do for you?" she replied after typing a bit on her computer. "Do you or anyone else here have a permanent position available for long-distance or inter-system cargo freight? I'm looking to settle down in a home base somewhere. This planet seems pretty fantastic in my opinion." Any positions open for a permanent or long-term freighter? I asked. Oh, okay, wasn't expecting that. Let me check. I patiently waited as she did her work. I didn't have to wait long. According to our system, there are a dozen or more options available, sir. Mountain Dew is looking for new shippers for their products to other human systems. The airline that operates all the aircraft here are always looking for freighters to bring in raw materials or parts, or even more aircraft. There's a lot available, actually. Why are those positions not filled, if I may ask? They seem lucrative, to say the least, I asked, tapping a claw nervously on the desk. Let me check, Says here the trips are boring and uneventful. Can't do more than 2 or 3 loads before moving on to other things. It seems most pilots and cargo freight crews prefer variety in their cargo, but a position for a permanent all-duty cargo freighter is always open. Let me see, wait, here. Look, she said excitedly and flipped her monitor so I could see it. Oh, nice. I like it, I said as I read the job offer. The Republic Office of Commissions is looking directly for a freighter-class ship to haul and deliver any kind of cargo at any time for express delivery. A to B, then back again. Pay is substantial, too. I think it's perfect for what you're asking, she said. Looks like it's a competitive market. I'll take it. Where do I sign up? I said in kind. This took her by surprise. Forgive me, sir, but this is straight out of Weirdsville for a non-human to agree to this so fast. Are you sure about this? She asked. Of course I'm sure. You can easily accommodate our needs as a species, and the commission says that room and board will be provided. Besides, I owe this to a friend. I can't turn this kind of offer down, I replied sternly. Say no more. The Republic Commission's office is open from 8 a.m. I'll make sure they know you're coming, she said with a smile. I gave her my Galactic Council Merchant's ID card and let her enter it into her system. After that, I left for my hotel. By the time the retrofit was done, we'd be ready to take on any contract and I would offer Lucas a permanent job. It would be better to have a human around when navigating human space, after all.